Hi, and welcome to the Late Bloomer Coffee Corner, where we are having a coffee and we talk about our day, what's happening, what's, what we kind of, what happened to us in the last week or so. And I have some some topics prepared, but I'm of course always happy to hear you and to listen to what you maybe want to talk about. And I think let's have a sip of coffee, get comfortable, and let's start chatting. Let me real quick check if my audio is recording or actually working because I had some problems last time. It looks good here. Tell me if something's happening. Tell me if there's a problem, please. Then I will check it, but everything looks fine. And with that, let's start into the first topic that I have prepared here for you. And that is a question I asked myself not just last week, kind of on an ongoing basis, but it kind of was top of my head like during the week. And that is like a weird question of, am I productive enough? Like, what am I doing? Because I'm living here now for in Mexico for 2.5 years, and that kind of turned my life around completely. Like I'm out of my normal work. I come from hospitality, specialty coffee, always worked in restaurants, bars, cafes, and I wanted to take the opportunity of relocation and living in a new country, in a new environment, to also make like a professional change. What I did not really completely grasp is that I have to kind of reinvent myself. Because when you do something for, I don't know, almost 20 years, that becomes part of who you are. That becomes part of your personality. And that is now not here anymore. Like I have to reinvent myself. And I kind that with that also comes feeling kind of like a child, because I know what I'm doing with hospitality, with coffee, with talking to customers, with everything that comes with that. And now I work in a more, more like I work in home office to start with, which is crazy. And whatever I do now, oh, I don't really have the knowledge that I had before. And I kept asking myself, especially this week, like, am I am I wasting time? Why start completely from scratch? Why not continue working in hospitality or in coffee or in any of that? Why starting over? And in addition to that, that is very specific when you move somewhere else where you have to learn a new language, is I can communicate in Spanish and all of that, but I'm far from being really fluent or really confident in most situations. I can get by. But whenever something a little bit more official comes up, it's extra hard. And I feel, why can't I do that? Why am I still such a baby when it comes to Spanish? There are other people that pick up languages like super fast and they can speak immediately and integrate. And I feel kind of dumb. Like, why can't I do that? Am I not doing enough? Do I not want that enough? And I know logically that's not true because I learn Spanish. I also have classes. I talk to everybody here in Spanish. But it creeps in. It creeps in. The kind of thought like, am I behind? And let me check what I see. Yeah. Also, on top of that comes like this YouTube channel and this project that I'm having that you watch right now, where a lot of time and effort goes into it. And I enjoy it a lot. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy having this outlet. I'm enjoying being creative and expressing myself. And for the first time and probably forever, really have the courage to speak to like the general public in a way that is not my professional field. But in the theme of am I wasting my time? Am I behind? Is also creeps in then the thought, is this, am I wasting time? Does that go bring me anywhere? Is this, what am I doing? To kind of cut this immediately or give immediately the answer to that, I don't think so. When I actually not in this kind of not so great spot, I come to the conclusion, or I know logically, I'm not wasting my time. I think it's super okay to change careers, to do something completely different, to feel again like a beginner in your professional field, and to break out of that when it's no longer giving you joy. I still enjoy the thought of hospitality, and I think occasionally I would really love to do it, but it's also an industry that really chews you up and is really unforgiving to your needs, not as crazy as like the kind of like Michelin star restaurant theme stuff, like everything that comes up now with the Noma guy. I don't know if you heard that or saw that. It's not as crazy, but in general, it's hard. It's a tough business. But I think it holds true to whatever you're doing. If you do it long enough and you do not enjoy it anymore and you do not really care for it anymore, it's okay if you're able to change, to do something else. And for me, that's also with the relocation and learning a complete new language, and not just learning it, but living with it, like actually having to use it. And yeah, sure, there are 100% people that are better at picking up a language and using it and feeling confident about it. But I think when you do put in the effort, when you not just go somewhere, and I would try to speak to everybody around me in English or German, which is even more insane, but actually putting in the effort, trying to not just understand the words, the language, but actually the culture and the cues that come with that. I think you're never wasting your time, because it always broadens your horizon, your thinking, your how you see life. And that comes with another kind of revelation I had now over time living here, is this kind I kind of stop having this feeling of immediate uh immediate importance. Like always something has to be, if you're not productive, you're wasting time. So that's my mindset, coming from Germany, coming from hospitality, coming from how my personality is. And that gets challenged here. And it gets challenged in a way that I didn't even anticipate it in the beginning, or that just slowly dawns on me. And that's whenever I spend time with my in-laws, and I don't know, like this week we had to repair something on the house. It always gets done, but it always gets done in like a very, very convoluted way. It always takes way longer than I think it should have. It always is more complicated than it's supposed to be. And that used to annoy me a lot. Like that really bothered me. I enjoy the time with them and I love them. And I really, really cherish the time we have together. But back of my mind was always the, can we just, why are we doing this so complicated? Let's just cut to the chase. Let's do it. Let's be done and do something fun afterwards. And that kind of blocked the way of really enjoying the moment we are having right now. And that's something I truly, really realized just really recently, that they love spending time with me, and it doesn't matter what it is. If that means driving around and checking out, I don't know, like different versions of like a water pump, then that's it. And because we are still together, we're still spending time. And I slowly reprogram my way of thinking, my brain into really also enjoying that. Like, yeah, it's not just quality time when you're sitting together, watching a movie, having a coffee, or whatever. It's quality time is whenever. Quality time is when you hang out, when you spend time together with people you like. And therefore, coming back to the beginning, no, I don't. That's not wasted time. I don't think that's time wasted. Spending time with people that you love and people that love you is not wasted. And pardon. I think that's a really different way of seeing things and of living. I think even if you really look at it that way and think, okay, I haven't done anything really for like a week, or you went, let's say you went into like a professional in a way that you where you feel you're like in a dead end, where you don't feel appreciated. You put a lot of time into, for example, a company, because you think when you're there just long enough they will recognize you and it will pay off in the end. And then in the end, it does not pay off. In the end, they maybe let you go. And you've been there for 10, 15 years. And you feel you never really liked what you were doing, but you always thought, okay, maybe one day I'll get to like a position where I really enjoy it. It's easy and completely understandable that you look back at that time and think, yeah, well, that's wasted. I wasted my 10 years of my life. I wasted that. But I think you learned in that moment so much about yourself. For me, that was also like my first good specialty coffee job. I previously worked in like normal commodity coffee shops, not really specialty coffee. And I could do it really fast, really organized everything, but I didn't really knew a lot about like the different coffees. I researched that myself in my free time because I was interested, but I was nowhere close to than my new colleagues. And I was thankful that they gave me that opportunity and that I could get there and learn stuff about coffee and learn a different way of making it and all of that. And the truth is, I learned a lot. I did. I learned a lot. I made friends that I'm forever grateful for and I'm still in contact with almost 10 years later. But I also got like used as a person, like as in the work that had to be done, and not just me, like my colleagues as well. And it was always with the, yeah, we all like a team, like we have to just chip in, make like the extra shift that is always was promised to be paid, never, nothing happened, like all this. I think everybody has like a story like that. And I looked back at it with anger. I was annoyed. And at first, my reaction was like, I will do everything, like, fuck that. I will do my own coffee shop now. And I opened my own coffee shop in the thinking of I will do everything better, everything different. And I was not like I did not, was not shitty to anybody working there with me, but that coffee shop ate me alive. And I was so frustrated and so annoyed and so done that looking back at that time, like when it finished, just when I said no more, and sorry, and the decision was there to close it and move to Mexico, I was like, yeah, that was wasted. I wasted my life there. I was miserable. I was not happy, not fun to be around. But now looking at that time frame, the job, my first kind of good coffee job, and the owning of my own coffee shop, looking back at it, it was not the most fun time of my life. It was far from it. But I learned a lot about myself because I also know now what I do not want to do. And that is opening another coffee shop or food business for that matter. And everybody asks me all the time, like in Germany, when I was closing, like, are you also opening up a coffee shop then in Mexico? And everybody here asked me in the beginning, like, yeah, and are you opening up a coffee shop? I mean, yeah, that's a logical thing to ask, of course. And I sometimes in between was tempted to like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I know I can do it. I know I can make money like that. And I know I do like parts of that. I do enjoy certain things. But it's no. Because I know now that I'm not made for that. I don't I that stresses me out way too much, and I know that. I know that now. And also it made me realize what I actually really enjoy, and that I do enjoy like small interactions. Do enjoy that a lot. And so I think there's always parts of your life that you wish would be different looking back. You wish you would do them differently. I think that will be forever the case. Because looking back, in hindsight, you always know what to do. In hindsight, you always know what the best solution would be. And I think, if you dread on the past and constantly think, am I productive enough? Am I good enough? Was that a mistake? You end up not enjoying the moment. Coming back to the spending time with my in-laws and really doing chores sometimes, or repairs, or anything. Could it be done faster? Could it be done more efficient? Yeah, yeah, it could. But why? Like, if it can be done, a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more laid back, and therefore being enjoyed a little bit in at the same time. Isn't that worth something? I feel like that's worth a lot. Let me have a sip of coffee real quick. I think also I don't want to preach a little bit. I don't want to preach the we have to just, like be like Zen and enjoy absolutely every single second of everything. No, but we should cherish cherish the day and enjoy stuff that's also normally not really fun. If it means we can be with people that we like. And if that means we're going out chasing, doing chores with our wives, our husbands, our in-laws, whatever, we shouldn't strive for like, oh, that has to be over as fast as possible. Similar when you are going on holidays. I know everybody says that all the time, like, let the journey be already your holiday. But it's true. I mean, you're already off from work, like, what are you gaining from like speeding to your destination and stressing about somebody in front of you going slower and they not going over so you can pass? And then you're stressed on your first day of holiday. I think that's the is in the same vein of things, like the same thought of like, am I wasting time? Am I productive enough? And we don't always have to be productive. Sometimes we just have to shut up and enjoy the moment and really sit back and realize, like, what am I doing? I'm now driving this car, being stressed out with friends maybe in the back or my family. They're not enjoying their time. They're really there, kind of maybe looking at their phones or whatever, or being kind of annoyed because it's not a nice environment to be in. But it's something that I, from experience, can say I always was under the impression of something has to be done. Like everything is like a emergency in a way. And I don't know if you also seen some reels talking about that, where somebody's like scrubbing something like really fast and then says like, oh, me remembering not everything is an emergency. And then slowing down and actually just cleaning it and realizing like, oh, yeah, well, that's kind of my nervous system firing on all cylinders and trying to avoid being yelled at or whatever happened when we were kids. And that stuck with us. I'm almost 40 and that's still a thing, which I think comes back to a lot of things where like, oh, I need a second opinion. I need an adult. Like, I am the adult. I am the adult, and I need to kind of take a step back and realize like there is no, yeah, it's some weird distant future. I will maybe understand that. If I'm not making the effort to actually understand it right now and really analyzing myself and my thoughts and my actions, nothing will change. I will not change. I will be stressed about nothingness forever. And that doesn't mean I want to like be mad at my parents or anything. Not at all. I think everybody does always, not always, but most of the time in the case of my parents at least, their best they could in that, during that time, in that moment. But I always laugh so much thinking about. I told that to my wife whenever we came back from holiday or from like a somewhere, just visiting my grandma or whatever, and we had stuff in the car. My dad always said, "But this time you're all gonna help unpack." And the thing is, we always did. There was never once the time where he did had to do that alone. The thing is, everybody else wanted to quickly maybe go to the toilet, pet the cat, have a glass of water, something like 5-10 minutes of like really okay, just settling, coming home. And he just wanted to like, no, nobody goes to the toilet, nobody drinks water, nobody says hi to the cat. We have to unpack right now, fast now. And like he had this, there's no time to waste. We have to do this right now. And I'm sure that's where I have that from. And it's not that he does that because he is like a bad person or anything. That's just how he learned stuff. And I think it's just a different generation. It's a generational thing, how aware you are about these things. But I do not want that for myself. I do not, I, it stresses me. And I notice that. And whenever that happens, and whenever I talk about that, or that happens now with my wife, I notice that afterwards and I feel bad. And then I reflect on myself and talk about it and realize what happened. And also there I come, I think, a long way, because in the beginning it was also often that I thought, yeah, that's just how my brain works. I cannot change that. And I think there are some things that are kind of like personality wise, like how anxious you are. I think that's your personality, but you can learn how to live with that. And I came to the conclusion, or to the like, yeah, I am like that. I am kind of impatient. I am easily frustrated. That is part because of ADHD, part because of how I grew up, all of that. But as hard it is as it is to really talk about it and really acknowledge that to myself, I can change that. And I think, again, coming back to the wasted time theme, even then, like bad interactions are not wasted if you really reflect on them, if you think back on what it is about and what can you do better. And I think in the same way, also positive things, like not everything has to be negative and where you have to work on yourself and all of that. No, can also be just realizing fun things, fun stuff, fun times. I think we all been there, that we go on like a mental health walk. Everybody's seen the meme, like with somebody really hands in their pocket, staring down, walking really angrily, and like me on my stupid mental health work for my stupid mental health. And I think that that's also it's not that we have to be really happy to do a mental health walk and enjoy every little bit of it. No, but we have to acknowledge when we actually go out to do like a walk to clear our heads. It's in the name. We clear our heads. And sometimes we have like shitty thoughts there that we kind of process and express and get out of our heads during that walk. And then afterwards, or maybe a day later, or whatever, or in our next mental health walk, we realize, well, yeah, maybe didn't really enjoy it in that during that time, kind of felt still stressed, maybe felt kind of still agitated during it and afterwards. But imagine how you would feel if you haven't not done it. Like all the anger and the frustration would not just magically not be there just because you don't feel it. And then looking back, you can be proud. You can be happy about yourself. You're like, hey, I did it. I did that. I did not wanted to do it. I could have easily just sat on the couch, doom scrolled TikTok or Instagram for hours. And not only would have I not processed my feelings or my frustrations, I would have piled some on top. Because, yeah, as the world, how the world is right now, easily to be just frustrated, annoyed, scared, all of it. And so, and looking at that all the time is super frustrating, super puts everybody in anxiety. And then doing that in a time where you already feel like that, crazy. But you went for a walk, you did it. You changed your routine, you changed the outcome of that day. Be proud of that. Something a little bit different. I would love to ask now in the live stream, and also I will make like a post about that. I wanted to ask if you're interested in kind of like planning the week together, you know? Because I know I struggle with that. I know it helps me. I know it probably also helps you, but I struggle to do that on a continuous basis. You know, I do it maybe once a week, and then I write down absolutely every single thing that pops into my head that needs to be done, like straight off, straight up, it has to be done, not just the next day in general. And that's not how to-do lists work. So maybe you're also struggling with that. Maybe you also want to really do to-do lists and learn a little bit more how to actually do them. And or maybe you do know how to do them. Because I theoretically know how to do it. I just can't. And when we're like body doubling, like when we do that together, then the pre- pressure is a little bit higher to actually do it in that moment and don't push it a little bit further down the road and like, yeah, well, I do it later, and then you do it the next day, and then you just don't. And also maybe make a combined session out of that, like making one part kind of checking in, saying like, hey, this was my to-do list from like yesterday, last week, whatever. What what have I actually accomplished from that? What have I done from that? What was maybe kind of not really supposed to be on the to-do lists? What was clutter? And then after that, together making our own to-do lists for the next week, for the next day, something like that. I don't know. Maybe you're interested in that. I will again also make like a community post about that, because I think it could be a really cool thing to do that will serve the community, that will serve you. and could be an interesting way to hold each other accountable. I will end this here. I will be a little bit shorter today. I sadly apologize. Also, it's Friday, not Thursday. Kind of the pump example with my in-laws was actually yesterday that happened. Kind of the water pump broke, and it was a whole thing. So I will have it a little bit shorter because I don't have time that much time today, sadly. I will also make like a community post and ask you guys what time is best, what day is best for you to live stream. And then I try my best to also do it that day. So we kind of meet in the middle. Let me know what you think about that. Tell me what time, and if you're interested in the body doubling, making a to do list exercise. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Continue your wonderful day. Have a hopefully a wonderful weekend, because today's Friday. Work day hopefully is not that long anymore. And then I see you in the next time. Take care. Have a wonderful coffee. Have good tea. Whatever you're eating and drinking, I hope it's delicious. Take care.